Testicles, what's up, buddy?
What up? I'm not gonna lie, I was just gonna let you play our opening music for a little while. Just chilling.
It keeps going.
So we've got sadness going into today.
Yeah, dude. It is a very weird feeling leaving work today on Friday and not having to go work on my display board and not having to work on my models. It's extremely weird.
I was thinking about the sheer amount of drinks that I'm not gonna ingest over the weekend. It's making me very sad.
Well, that's probably a good thing actually for your health. So
Oh, it's red wine. Red
I
wine's
did
good for you.
I did not in the amounts you drink, bro. Sorry to say that. Like,
Look, they
yes.
said it's 2 glasses. And
Yeah.
I drink 2 glasses. I just have a glass that fits an entire bottle of wine. So a ton of memories not done. That was my post today about that. I miss the memories created every time.
I know. I saw that post. I gotta put some memories on there, but you said what's like a big memory, so I'm trying to narrow mine down. I have so many.
I mean,
And
I was thinking like you were there for the first time. Sorry, that wasn't the first pizza party. We used to have a pizza party every year
I'm really
after
scared.
the
I'm
team
really
tournament.
scared where this is gonna go.
Now, it was the year that we had a sponsor that brought in alcohol that year. And that was the first year one of the first years the Swedes came over with the team.
Okay.
And we got pretty drunk. It was and then we were no longer allowed to do that anymore because of the fact that the party turned into a legendary party of drinking.
Was that the same year or the year after I seasoned John Willingham's pizza dipping sauce?
That was the year after, I think.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure it wasn't my fault that event got canceled totally.
Oh, it was. Whew. Yeah, well, we still got the pizzas. I missed those years, to tell you the truth. We had the pizza party for a really long time.
Yeah, I think also what I mean, it didn't necessarily kill it, but what changed a little bit was the fact that the new venue is just close to so many different restaurants. When it was back at the old place
Yeah,
over
there
on
was some
in
places to
Downers.
go. Yeah,
Yeah. There's way more places close by, and I think that's one big factor. And I think also the armies on parade during the team tournament is a big factor because we used to do that pizza party Saturday night.
right.
Yeah, and now a lot of people want to go see the armies on parade kind of thing, and also a lot of teams and a lot of guys that we would usually party with, like the guys from the boys and stuff, they would be at armies on parade waiting for like judges to come by and get them
Yeah.
extra points.
Also true. Well, you guys really upped your game on those display boards over the years. Whew.
Tell me about it.
You gotta remember in the very beginning, people had like these, small but nice display boards that were kind of intricate, and then like I don't even know who started it, but they became bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden they were 6, 7 feet tall and 8 feet wide. Just like whoa.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I didn't bring any of these
The
things.
first thing my wife said was, so now that it's canceled, and I'm really sorry that it's canceled, but now that it is canceled, where are you going to store that thing in the garage? and I said,
You should have went in the bedroom,
no, I
sweetheart.
literally
In
looked
the
at her. I was
bedroom.
like, I have no clue. Like, it can't go in any doors, like not real doors, and I'm not really sure where I'm going to put it. And there's a good chance we don't use it because next year the meta could change, and from a competitive standpoint, we
What
might
about
play something
because
different.
it's module based, right?
So the actual dioramas themselves are modular based, but this year the Kamikazes built the Emperor's Throne. So we built an actual 11-foot tall Emperor throne that we were expecting people to sit in and get like a Polaroid picture, and our dioramas were built all around it, and it's going to be impossible to really store it anywhere. And
Send out each of the modules on a world tour with different people for display boards all year.
could do that. Yeah, definitely could do that. I can pawn off the displays, the individual displays, and have people kind of take those around. But it's just a tragedy to destroy the chair itself. It's really nice. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know
What's
what to do yet.
crazy is I mean, we'll miss the singles event's a singles event, but man, there's nothing to replace the Adepticon team tournament.
No.
Like, there's just no other event that's doing that. It's just, ugh, that's the big stab in the heart for me. You know what I mean? Because there's plenty of other events I can play and I can put my list on the board. But man, there's nothing else that's going to have the team tournament feel with people with the giant display boards and just the I don't know camaraderie. Everybody's partying. It just feels like such a crazy good time,
Yeah.
even way more so than just a regular
Oh
tournament.
yeah. Adepticon teams is a totally different type of event. It's literally a community, and regardless of who you are or what group you belong to in the 40K competitive landscape, everyone at the team event is just super excited to see what everyone else brought and all of the cool displays and all of the cool themes and all of the crazy alcohol that people bring, like giant syringes full of booze, jello, and stuff. So it's just it really does suck. That part really is unreplaceable.
I wonder. I mean, I have to really speculate, but I wonder if they could do a later date in the summer because the in the summer it's pretty free. I mean, ATC moved to June, but what do we even have in the future here in the
Well,
summertime?
you got War Games Con, I think in July. You got ATC, but I don't think any of those really matter. Honestly, I think the biggest problem is the Adepticon team. The team would have to be able to take off those days to support the event, host the event. The
Yeah.
hotel would need to be available as well. So somebody in the future who may have a booking already would have to. I mean, it's not like 1 or 2 days. It's not a weekend they need. They literally need the entire hotel completely free for 5 days. And that's
Well, it's also the fact that you're not looking at a singles event. It's not one guy. You need all four guys to now have vacation days to get here.
yeah. Even outside of, let's say, outside of attendance. Let's say, for example, they were able to do it and it was able to be in June. And let's say they took a hit on people coming to it a little bit, but just the people who are running it, they would all be able to have to take off that time. The hotel would have to be open, and I think the days are the biggest problem. Like, we need everything, and I think at this point, Adepticon has gotten so large that it's other hotels as well. It's not just that hotel.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they're straining at the bits to even contain themselves right now. They've been talking for a long time about whether they want to try to get larger and find a different venue or just basically be this is their size and just be here. Because I mean, where they're putting people in closets and stuff now, you know what I mean, to try to find room for more games and more hobby seminars and everything else.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, they're totally taking up all the space. So, I mean, it's pretty easy to see that, based on the announcement that was released and based on these type of facts and this circumstance of life and how these venues and these events have other things going on. It's most likely that they were just weren't able to do it. It probably wasn't even remotely possible.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of sucks. I mean, it totally sucks. It doesn't just kind of suck. It sucks all of it. It has a full bag of dicks. So let's get into positive stuff, though.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Let's get into how the meta's been shifting. Let's rock this out.
What would you like to start off with first? I know you're really feeling Grey Knights. I saw some posts you had on the internet about Grey Knights.
I think Grey Knights are going to be great for ITC. I think that right now they're going to be coming. The thing is I think that you don't see all the latest lists. You know what I mean? When something first comes out, everybody gets kind of what they think is going to be good, but you don't get the good list already. But the thing is Grey Knights went from just complete dumpster fire, and already we're looking on 40K stats, and already they're over 50% win rate, 55, and that's with all games in, and that's just with basically beta type lists. When people are just straight trying to find, and they were basically bottom of the barrel before, which is a huge step up. You know what I mean? They're basically um, over over the middle here. So you know what I mean? That's a good army with those double paladins, six strikes, a whole bunch of characters. They've got some of the best chaplain buffs in the game with extra range, pluses to hit, extra AP.
Some of the
Um,
best special name characters, and they're going definitely
oh,
the farthest, right? From what they were to what they are is
100%. They were almost universally considered one of the top three worst factions in the game,
yep.
and now they're just doing crazy damage. And the Psychic Awakening really helped them. I mean, you've got like just paladin squads with astral aim, just putting the beats on stuff, and you can get them, two extra AP, extra damage. They've got defensive buffs on them. You've got Voldus and Drago, two of the best special characters in the game. Brother Captain adding range to the smites, so you're getting 24-inch smites. You get the I can't even remember what their things are, whatever their doctrines are called.
The tides.
That you do the tide, sorry, in the psychic phase. So you're getting either, and then you can change them. So you can basically do your psychics, get 2 damage, and then flip them. So you're doing the extra AP and everything in the psychic phase.
The Grey Knights winning rate is kind of what we expected. And as you said, as these tournaments keep going, I think we'll see more and more of them. And I definitely think they will be a very strong gatekeeper in a lot of these bigger tournaments where, you know, in the past we kind of saw Knights fill that role, and Knights really took over those mid tables and were kind of the big boogeyman for a majority of people going to the events. I think Grey Knight players are going to fill that void very quickly. And then I think you're going to see a couple of players who I think Grey Knights fits their play style very good. And those are the type of people I think you're going to see on those top tables, potentially going for first places at small RTTs and smaller GTs, and then potentially in the top five, potentially playing as well undefeated, maybe in like the last fifth or sixth round, potentially winning or losing in those games.
I can see that for sure. I think that Tau got really strong too. Just the additional AP makes them so much more dangerous, and the fact that they already had a strong win rate, but you get more options too. I mean,
Why don't
Secrets.
you explain that AP thing for people who don't really understand it?
Well, you now can just choose the system on that because you can choose your sept. You can basically do it just like you make your successor chapters for Marines. Now you're actually doing that same thing with Tau, and you can actually choose different relics and stuff. And the 16% more, basically more get through, makes a big difference on things like, especially things like Riptide smart missile systems. They're shooting 8 shots at AP2 with no cover. So you're actually able to pick things up out of line of sight, which used to be just like, all right. But those guys are really putting damage out. And the fact that you can basically get different systems because you can use extra AP, you can get the move and shoot, you get different, you can basically, the making your own sept just makes them so good. Plus, there's different options now with the Farsight. You know, you can do Farsight bombs and stuff like that. And those are, no one really expects that and hasn't played that in forever. But you can get the extra commanders, you can do the uh, suit bombs and stuff like that. And then you can, of course, take the tried and true, 3 commanders, 3 riptides, a million drones,
Yep.
marker lights.
Yeah, I think
Just this,
sept tenants are going to be a real big deal. They're going to impact Tau a lot. But I think with the changes to, I would say, general ITC missions, you still are going to need to have a pretty good amount of board control. And I don't necessarily know.
they have that, man. You literally have 40 plus drones, three riptides, commanders, ethereal sitting in the middle. Everybody takes the stabilization system, so you basically free up other stuff for more AP and stuff like that, and you're just moving to the middle of the board. They basically, and they can start in any deployment and do that because of the fact that they're moving so fast and everybody flies, so you can't really catch them. So they're a strong army. It's an army that you got to kind of know what you're doing to maximize your benefits, but it's
Yeah,
not an army that,
I would say movement becomes a big play in that one, right? Distances between models and when to
oh,
move up, when
huge.
to not move up, and what armies to move up on early, what armies to move up on maybe later.
Yeah, and especially the kind of spacing you have on your your drones, because you have to have your drones within range of whoever you want to dump it off on, and then if you let them be seen, and or you get people a little bit out of coherency, you all of a sudden your drones can only protect one guy. Maybe they can only get, the one of the guys can only get so many drones. It becomes like big on the movement. The movement phase is huge for Tau, which people don't realize because they think of it more as just a stationary type, just shoot army. But there's a lot of movement that goes along with being great at Tau.
Yeah, and I think they have that stigma from being more of a stationary army just because of in the past, like other editions, that's typically how they played, and that's how a lot of people have played them before. Because they have, I would say, a lacking close combat presence, they're typically viewed as those units that kind of sit back, create a gun line, and fire. But yeah, I would agree with you. I think with the SEPs and with the changes made to Tau and the latest Psychic Awakening, the Greater Good, I think they really have a lot more ability to play the mission, take board, and basically support the rest of the army with some of these extra negative modifiers to AP, and just making overall things a little bit better and giving you the ability to fine tune them.
100% agreed. So I think that you're going to see Grey Knights. I think you're going to see more Tau, and you're going to see just better Tau, which is actually pretty scary because they were already doing well.
Were they really doing well, or was it Richard Siegler just doing well with them?
A little bit of both. Siegler is really, really good with the Tau, but the Tau were doing well. The problem is a lot of people didn't adapt their Tau to be those moving armies, the armies that take the board. And so I think it's really taken some time. Even at local tournaments, I'm just seeing more guys with Tau doing better because they're just learning how to get that army going. It's one of those things where all the old Tau players just sat there and did do the old Tau thing where they just kind of backed up, sat in their corner, and pew pew. You
Yeah,
can't do that in
or they
today's
just put like a
missions.
bunch of broadsides on a hill somewhere, and
Yeah,
like just
I mean you can't do that and win now. It's
and
just not going to happen.
people would just run at it, and like they would die, and then the Tau player would be like, "I'm fantastic at 40K."
Exactly. And now, you either you take the board, you have to have the ability to take the board, or you're just going to lose because
Yeah,
your opponent won't engage you. They'll
I
just
would
sit on objectives and just win.
100% agree to that, and I think it's interesting to see Tau. I think on just pure stats, I think they're like around a 55% win rate, but it'd be interesting to pull out all of Richard's games and see what kind of win rate they have then in the data set that they have over on 40K stats.
Well, that's the thing though. I don't think he's played Tau in this stat block because he was playing Iron Hands for the beginning of the year.
That's actually true. I was looking at dates on there, and all of the dates are this year, so 2020. So I'm not sure if he hasn't brought it to a tournament in this year at all. Then he may
I
not
don't
even
think
be
he's
in the data set.
So I just think people are doing well. I mean, it spiked crazily. You know what I mean? With he's got like one loss in 5 tournaments or something.
Yeah,
So
and these Septennants for me as a Sisters player is really giving me even more of a return on investment when I'm playing the Valorous Heart faction of the Sisters army because I'm ignoring.
there isn't another one. Come on, Valor's Heart's these.
No. I need a Bloody Rose because I play. I still take Zephyr and
No, that's
Seraphim.
true. You got to get into the combat.
Yeah, and Bloody Rose with them is really good. I mean, it's not only combat; it's also shooting. Just having -1 bolt pistols, -1 additional -1 on Melta just takes me to -5, and
I do like the sisters and IG a lot.
Yeah. I was looking
That's
into
sick,
that. I saw it actually was played at a tournament recently and won. But I was looking at the moment that the IG army dropped, and the Scions army just has so many potential, force multipliers on top of what they already do really well. And you can take those new, essentially, Militarum Tempestus regiments. So those regimental doctrines that you get on top of taking like some of the regiments, I think you really get a lot of really good stuff, especially with the Scions, like the Lambden Lions. That one is really, really good. The 103rd. They have a lot of really cool tricks.
If you're doing that though, I think do you take a more of an all guard army if you're taking the Scions and stuff? Because when I'm thinking guard and sisters, I'm thinking big tank and lots of girls.
No, I mean, that's what I was originally thinking for Adepticon in the start. Now that it's canceled, I don't have to worry about that too much. But I was considering big tanks, especially with ITC missions and knowing that you have terrain. I decided against it at Adepticon because you don't know the terrain. But with future ITC missions, I actually, if you want to play Scions, I really, really like Scions working in conjunction with dropping Seraphim, turns 2 and 3 for sure. And, picking up extra depth when dropping in. So I like the idea of dropping in a Seraphim unit that has -1 across all their weapons. It's like a 10-man unit with pistols, double Melta, double Inferno pistols, and then the Sergeant can get a plasma as well. And you bring them in, and they're 9 away from a unit, most likely a screen. You use the strat that lets them shoot the moment they come down. So they come down, they shoot, they will clear a screen, and as long as you do this right, you can get significant depth into the army after that. So you can clear some screens and then drop in Scions like deeper than your opponent intended you to do. And that could do some serious damage because if you get within the screen limits, now you're hitting things that they're on purpose screening out. So that's really how I like them.
Yeah, I mean that's another army. That's nice too. I think most of my list now. I think so much on board control than anything. So it's weird. It's a different style because I'm so focused on just taking the primary. Sometimes I think that I'm not even looking. Well, I'm looking to do damage, of course, but
So like in conjunction, like with those Scion squads, and yeah, I just pulled up the guy's list who did well, and he does have very similar to the approach that I would have taken with just a bunch of drop Scion units, and
that's all of the drop science,
all of
plasma,
the guns.
meltas.
Yeah, one unit of Melta, but yeah, all of the guns. I don't know if he has what I would have taken in the. No, he doesn't. So he doesn't have the same stuff that I would have taken in the Sisters Army, but. He take a Valorous Heart? Let's see. Yeah, he did. Okay, so he did take a Valorous Heart. So so that board control, that board presence that you were talking about just now, I think that is definitely something you need in your army list. And I think a Valorous Heart battalion does it perfectly. And you could do that cheap, you could do it expensive, you could do it in between. It just depends on what you're adding to it. And I think if you're adding guard, my ideal army is almost a Valorous Heart battalion, almost min max, where you have like minimum squads of 5 battle sisters. You can go a little higher if you want. You can go squads of 7 or 8, and I would take 6 of them, and then like a canoness, and maybe a priest, maybe, or some additional elements to just kind of weave in between the sisters, so that you're providing this really strong foundational base, and then some aggressive units like Seraphim that can go out and like do extra damage, and them tagged with Scions and Zephyrim is really, really good.
I like it. I don't want to see it in front of me because it looks like it could kill a shit ton of my guys, but I like it.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. I've had a lot of people online ask me about Sisters and what my approach would be, and that's kind of what I've been sharing so far. So we'll see how they do in the competitive arena. I don't know how many people will be playing them, so that will impact their success. But I do think the people that are already going towards them are some of the better players. I know Ganyo has definitely been looking at him, and I know he's a really good player. So
Makes me afraid because I'm actually thinking about taking some Eldar again, pulling the Eldar out and doing some tank armies because the fact that so many people don't have it, basically the boogeyman's no longer there. Imperial Fists don't auto win against all.
well, they're still there. Turn one. I mean, turn one, they still hit you really hard.
Yeah, but
They
the
don't hit
thing
you as hard
is,
after,
they don't.
but
Right, that's what I'm saying. But they don't auto win now.
I mean,
Like you couldn't bring a
that's
vehicle army
debatable.
because of the fact that if you played an Imperial Fist person, you auto lost.
I mean, but how much are they picking up turn one? If they still go first against you and they still have the list, I wouldn't even say Manny's list. I would even make it more gross than Manny's list. And
Sure, but
like,
they get a decent amount of damage on turn one, and then after that, they just become a regular army. They lose the AP, they lose the 2 damage. You're going to take some hits, but it's playable as before it wasn't.
I would
So
agree. I would agree. It's definitely playable, but it's
no,
going
you're at a
going
disadvantage. But
second
the
is
thing is,
still
you
very
couldn't bring
bad.
it before because of the fact that you just auto lost. So you're not going to bring an army to a tournament that you're hoping to win and just go, I hope I don't play this because I'll lose. Now I can actually play through it.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree. I would definitely agree. Yeah, for sure. It is an impact. I still think it's kind of still out there. I don't think it's going away. I think you'll still see that Imperial Fist army.
Agreed. I just don't think that it's playable now.
Yeah.
And also, I just don't think I'll see it as much.
Oh no, you definitely won't see it as much for sure. Because there's gonna be a ton of people who are like, well, now I lose if I don't go first, and I now lose like if I just have a bad turn one.
Right, because it's all done after
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
I mean, you still
Yeah.
ignore cover. I like Imperial Fists with other armies a lot, especially because the fact that you go out of these doctrines. So a lot of these armies, I love having. I think don't see the advantage of just having Imperial Fist artillery just with the rest of their army. You have a couple of Thunderfires and Whirlwinds and stuff like that that always ignore cover. It's just amazing. Just put them in
Oh
the
yeah.
back and then have detachments of whatever the rest of your army is.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I don't even. So for me, I'm not going to. I refunded my BAO ticket just because I don't know what's going on with the whole coronavirus. I don't know what the next event I'm going to is, but I'm looking forward to ATC, and and what we'll be playing there. That's for sure. So I'm gonna have fun at that event, and I think I'll be bringing sisters most likely. So
I'm looking forward to ATC, or as long as I can get it there and do things. But
I don't think ATC would be canceled because there is a good amount of time, right? A lot of what we're hearing right now, or a lot of what I'm hearing in Illinois is May, like the end of May, like a lot of people are talking about the end of May. Things should be getting better. And ATC happens to be in June, which I think is good. Also, ATC is 6-person teams or five-person teams. Five-person teams, like 150 teams or so. It's less than 1,000 people. So I don't think there won't be an instance where they have to not do it. I think it'll be up to discretion. And I just have this feeling that Tennessee just doesn't really care too much.
So, I've been to Chattanooga. I don't even think they have the law.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like there's like no way. Like I feel like if ATC was right now, it would still be happening. I'm dead serious, actually. I legitimately believe that if ATC was right now, it would still happen because it's less than 1,000, and I don't think that camp. Well, I know they moved to a new venue. Maybe the venue would do it. So we'll see about this new venue. I mean, it's supposed to be a lot better. So
On the park.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This new venue is like a serious deal. It's like a convention area. It's like a real convention area. So it's not like a park, like shared, recreational area kind of thing. It's probably going to be similar to, what we've seen from other convention spaces. And from what I've been told, it's gigantic. So I've never seen it personally, but this is the first year.
We'll check it out this year. It'd be an upgrade.
Oh,
I thought they were going to move it to Atlanta. I was hoping that it's just easier to get to.
A lot of people were hoping Atlanta. I was hoping Nashville because I literally, this is so strange. I don't mind the drive from Chicago to Nashville. It's after Nashville to Chattanooga that really grinds my gears.
Wait, that's like the limit. You're almost there by the time you get to Nashville.
I know, no, it's not almost there. Yeah, you're like basically there. Like, I think it's like 2 hours or like an hour and 45 minutes more. But like that last 2 hours is the part that I hate. That's like going and leaving. I hate it in both directions. It's also the prettiest part of the whole drive. So it's kind of funny. Like the rest of the drive is very, very boring. Nothing really to see. And then you get into those mountains, like just when you're getting near Chattanooga. But man, that's the worst
just
part.
Not being able to fly into there reliably for good money is just.
Yeah, I flew in once. It was nice. I enjoyed it, but I think there's like, just like Adepticon has its flair and like things that are like an Adepticon thing to do, like going to Texas Day, Brazil with like 12 of your closest friends and just eating a crap ton of meat. Or other events. There's a lot of events that have like just unique, things that you do, right? Like for ATC, other than what I'm about to say, you most likely are going to build a spreadsheet with your team. You're going to have fun making a spreadsheet with your team, or you're going to hate the experience of making a spreadsheet with your team. But all teams make a spreadsheet. And ATC, the drive down for me is like kind of tradition now. It's kind of like a thing where like we drive down. Like that's what we do.
You need Coach Greg Sparks.
Coach Greg. He's the best, man. Good dude. But yeah, no, flying into Atlanta is super easy. And if it was in Atlanta, it would be one of the easiest events to get to for sure.
Oh, I know you could literally. I mean, it's so much different too because we've always had every year we have a problem with some flights being canceled, and you have no options because there's barely anything going into Chattanooga. So if your flight does get delayed or canceled, you're just out of luck. Then all of a sudden you emergency drive down.
Yeah, which has happened to many teams
every year.
And they show up. They're like, we just got in. When do we start? 15 minutes. Go.
So it should be great.
The whole team is like, how do we not be pissed during this game?
I do like the AT setup. I'm going to give them props on the top tables. The scoring, the real time scoring on the stream is just the only way to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The ATC's scoring last year was really cool. My team was I was on Pamp's team, and I think we played on that table once. So we got to experience that scoring sheet one time. I think it was actually against you guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Whatever.
Maybe.
We played on it 3 times. So.
Yeah, you guys played on it like forever, like the last day, like the last 2 games that one day, and then the game on the following day.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah. It was just super cool because it was super easy. You know what your time was. It was everything was super cool. I really like playing that way.
Yeah, so I think Chattanooga ATC will be the next event that I'm able to go to, just because of all the Corona stuff, and who knows what's going to happen with that. So, and
It's disappointing a little bit because I think it's going to jack up the meta a little bit because you're going to get all the way to ETC and you're going to get these semi-tested armies because they're not going to have been to any really large events because they can't go to any large events because they're all canceled. So you're
yeah,
gonna, I think
yeah,
you're
and
gonna
and
get,
and
you're,
honestly, like I'm not avoiding Corona. I'm worried that like I like do exactly what happened with Adepticon. I have all this time reserved for this event, and then it gets canceled. So instead, I'm just gonna go on vacation. So like I've just been booking
oh yeah,
vacations
no, I'm
left and
just
right.
talking about the fact that I think that like you're just gonna get, I think people are gonna bring, it's the question is, are you gonna bring 5 lists that you already know, or are you gonna try to bring, that list that hasn't seen a lot of play because there's no tournaments between now and then?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to bring? I mean, Tao's pretty much already out there, but you could bring in. Are you going to bring that new version of Tao? Are you going to bring that new Grey Knight army that you really haven't put on the table? You've won a bunch of games in the basement, but you haven't played, in any larger tournaments at all. Because I mean, not a whole lot's going on between now and then. I mean, there's going to be no. All the big tournaments are closed. A lot of the small tournaments actually got canceled. So you're only looking at maybe RTTs that are going to be popping up.
Yeah. So I think the Brad, the next thing I wanted to talk about, and this was me getting ready for Adepticon, figuring out kind of what I needed. And I found out that with our team, we literally needed about 16 different books to bring to the Adepticon team event just to play 40K. And I got very frustrated at the fact that we had to bring so much stuff. Just because if anyone says, I want to see the real book, I don't want to see your iPad. I couldn't believe how quickly we got to that many books. And I'm really hoping Ninth Ed consolidates Psychic Awakening, consolidates Vigilance Ablaze and Vigilance Defiant, and consolidates these codexes. I think White Scars, Raven Guard, Iron Hands, all these Salamanders could have been in one book called, I don't know, Space Marines.
Yeah, but then
So,
it wouldn't be in a book called "We Make a Lot More Money Selling These Books Separately."
I mean, I don't even know if they do, because I mean, I just don't know how much money they really make off these books, because they have to pay for these books, and the books are good quality. They're very good hardbound books with all this art and all this stuff. And honestly, what I wanted to talk to you about is your opinion. But for me, why isn't 40K like AOS? Why don't they have that app? Why don't they have the ability for me to have an app on my phone that I have free access to rules, and then they can charge me for an army builder on the app, and everyone has the same one, and it gets updated automatically?
I don't. The EOS one is amazing. The battle plan. You don't even need the. I don't need the builder. I just need the battle plan where you just go. Here's the units I'm using, and then it automatically gives the rules for those units. So it's so easy, and you can actually send it over to your opponent. You're like, okay, here's my army. Every unit that I have in my army.
Yeah, yeah, adding it to your battle plan and sending units over. But also, your opponent doesn't even have to ask. They can literally just download the app, use the search bar to search a unit, and guess what? They can search strats, they can search anything because they have a search
Sure, but
feature.
I mean, literally just at the beginning of the game, if we used it every time, if you had if you had just the same thing that we have in AOS, I would start the game by sending you my over the battle plan to your phone, and you would just have it right there. So you don't need to ask anything. You have the rules for every single unit that I have in my army.
Exactly. I really think, and like, let's go even a step further, right? Like, hey, I go to GW. I'm really excited to get a book, start an army, and I think you've even mentioned this to me before when we're not on the podcast. Like, if I want to get the Salamanders book, and I want to play, what's that strat that they totally changed like 2 days after they released the book?
No sacrifice. It's just those aren't updated. You just, you know what I mean. It just, they have to have the FAQs. It's so much easier to use an app like that because it already has it there. You have all your strats, you have all your units, you have everything that you need to play the game. And I don't know why they're not doing that in 40K. I mean, they're having great success with it in AOS, so I don't know why it's not already over here.
Yeah, I really don't get it, and I feel like this is the next thing they need to do. I feel like Ninth Ed has to come out. They need an app. They need the ability for the app to have automatic updates. I don't even care if they charge for a membership fee for the app. That's fine. Monthly membership, charge $5. That's fine. But have the ability to have all of the rules in one place with the ability to search so that we know what's going on. Like everyone kind of knows. And I know you said you don't need the army builder, but I feel like the army builder would be clutch because there's some things that like I miss. There's parts of books that I don't even know are actual valid match play rules. Like there is a section of the latest supplement for Psychic Awakening, the one that has the Thousand Suns in it, Ritual of the Damned. And there's a whole section about like a demon world, like in the very beginning. And right after it, there are some relics and stuff that don't seem to be a part of match play, but I'm seeing them being played at tournaments. And I don't know if they are or not. I'm curious. Like that was my question. Like, are these a part of the rules or not? But having a list builder where you have the ability to see every single relic, every single warlord trait that you can assign to the character, when is it appropriate to assign them based on strats and when is it not? Like if you have a warlord from Blood Angels, but you also have Raven Guard in your army, you can't use the Raven Guard strat to give them Master Ambush. They have to be a Raven Guard warlord to get that if you're using the strat for it. Stuff like that is really important to know, and it's hard for you to figure that out with the books. It's way easier if it was just in an app, and if it's not applicable, it's grayed out, and if it is applicable, it's available.
The only thing is that you could put, if I had to just pick and choose, I would choose both, obviously. But I have to only, you know what I mean? If I want to get it up and running, you could do the battle plan thing by itself for 40K, way easier than you could do an army builder type.
Yeah. No,
So, I mean,
I get
if
that.
I would like to see that, if anything, I would just like to see them get that plan up with just rules. And I would play for that all day.
I mean, yeah, that's I mean, obviously there's going to be baby steps with this and there's going to be a first approach, second approach, but there's no reason why they shouldn't have an app. And I don't know what their markup is with books. I don't know what their agreements are with their publishing companies. Maybe they have to sell a certain amount to get like certain deals, but there is going to be some gamers and some people who still want the books, and that's fine. Sell them the books. But make the app for the competitive arena. Make the app for tournament players. Make the app for everyone else that wants to get started. Also, make the app so that people who are curious about the game and maybe want to see it will just download the app to see it. And like, hey, you know, I heard about 40K. I walked by the store. I walked by some mall in some place and I saw Games Workshop and they told me to download the app and I downloaded it and this stuff looks really cool. And who knows, maybe you could put additional stuff in your app. Maybe you could put ways for them to buy things. I don't know. But at least having it have the rules in a consolidated way is going to help everyone, in my opinion, and streamline the entire process of FAQs and streamline the entire process of chapter approved.
If you want to do that, then we do a pairings app that does the same, all of those things.
Well, let's not get greedy here.
Yeah, I'm just saying you could, but if you're paying subscription, you could actually pay for a match play version of it. Yeah. So it could have all the things that you need to be in a tournament.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they can definitely do that, and you know, and it can only get better and better and better too. Like, I mean, it really just depends on what Games Workshop wants to focus on. But I don't see why that wouldn't be the right way of going through things. And guess what? Games Workshop, you would get analytics on all of your data. You would get to know who, how many times, when did people click on anything in your app. You would know which units are the most popular, which units are being read the most. If you see a spike all of a sudden on Leviathan Dreadnoughts that are getting flagged as Iron Hands, maybe you'll know something is wrong before you know something is wrong today. And I think all of this,
what things to flood out and make more of, make more money.
Oh yeah, exactly. You get all this data. Like what if you found out that, like, you know, out of everyone who downloads the app, 75% of people click on orc buggies, the new orc buggies you made, because the models are insanely amazing. But then when you go look at actual revenue, 0 people are buying them. Why? Well, the rules suck. So what do you guys got to do now? You can literally target rules updates by the app analytics. This is how all major companies use their apps. They gather data from them. And the data they gather is more precious than any type of survey or any type of analysis you can do in any other way.
Agreed 100%.
Anyways, that was my last rant. I know that we are having a busy day here trying to fit in a podcast with the Adepticon announcement yesterday. Thank you for your time, Brad. Why don't you sign off to everyone and we will let this one go for today.
Remember, children, roll your dice in the open, play by intent, and 40K Santa will make all your Forge World dreams come true.